Welcome to episode 55 of the Jungle Brothers podcast. I'm Joe Worthington. We've got Paul Fotofili and Tira Ward in the house.
Hi.
Thanks to Panavore Coffee, providing the coffee that we're drinking. Tree trains with us. He turns up every damn day, and he even brings the coffee and delivers it to me by hand when we do our personal training session together on a Thursday afternoon. And I very much appreciate that. And if you have not tried their egg sandwich, do try it. Paul, you had one this morning. You liked it?
It was my first one. It was really good.
You like that chili sauce?
It was a bit hot on there, so it was perfect for me.
Oh, yeah.
Love that.
Guys, we're going to rip straight in today where there's obviously a lot of things going on right now related to COVID-19. We're making a lot of steps here at Jungle Brothers. There's a lot of discussion around the world of small business. Social media is blowing up. People are uncertain. Some people are more certain than others. We feel like we have a lot to share, and we want to dive into that and explore the role of, or explore what the role that gyms play within a situation like this. So welcome, fellas. Good to be here.
Very good to be here. Strange times indeed, with everything that's unfolded. Obviously, we've been a few weeks behind. China further behind, and Europe as well, in the States. So we've kind of had this ability to see a little bit into the future and learn from, what's gone on there. And, we've got a government here that's doing what they can, depending on what your opinion is of how they've carried out with it. It's the situation that we're in.
Yeah, for anyone that's listening that's not in Australia, we're currently, the majority of businesses are still in operation. There's no kind of lockdown as such. Certain businesses within the CBD area of Sydney and maybe other major metropolitan areas have been shut down, particularly businesses where a lot of people are going into one building. But for the most part, it's kind of life as usual still at this point, which seems very strange because we're all aware of this thing that's unfolding, yet we can still go to a cafe or a restaurant and kind of do your day-to-day thing.
We see signs of it here and there. Obviously, if you go to the supermarkets, we've had all of the panic buying, the people who are hoarding. So it's pretty evident there when you go to these places where you're finding your goods, because they're either jam-packed and there's lines and stuff like that, and there's just goods not on the shelf. Hospitals, there's lines out at the door as well down the street for people trying to get tested, etc. But yeah, I mean, we were at Bronte Beach this morning. It seemed like
we were on Sunrise.
We were on Sunrise.
For those that don't know, which is the premier breakfast morning show, bringing you high-quality news, weather reports, and featuring the best small businesses from your area. Paul and I got a 10-second feature.
It was 20 seconds, actually.
Was it 20 seconds? We haven't reviewed it yet properly, have we?
No. But they were trying to do a good thing, essentially. I don't really watch the morning shows, but they were out to promote and give some screen airtime to small businesses. They were trying to advertise and talk to 100 small businesses within a day or something like that?
2 days, I think.
2 days.
Yeah.
So it was like a super quick spot. And if you do get to watch it...
Plug-a-palooza, they called it.
Plug-a-palooza. It was a bit slapstick for me.
Yeah, we had Jungle Brothers. We're some serious dudes. We take the shit for real. And I think they wanted Paul to rub hand sanitizer on my shirtless body. And we were like, no, we don't want to do that.
Smack the hand sanitizer.
Yeah. So we ended up, little jiu-jitsu sequence, a bit of violence, just to add some punctuation to the morning show and bring a little bit of life, a bit of energy.
Their MO was, because there's so much bad news and there's that somber tone around everything, and it's pretty grim, and they're largely having to report on the status of the banks and society and whatnot. They want to be interchanging, cutting with some sort of optimism and some action and some lively stuff. So we played a role. It was cool. It was a bit of exposure for us, but, bit of fun. But yeah, being down there at Bronte Beach, it could have been any other beautiful autumn day.
You wouldn't know, would you?
There was bronze bodies everywhere, jogging up and down, people in the cafes. The cafe owner there actually said that it's been busier than usual because everyone's working from home. So he's got laptops. People sitting on laptops outside.
I definitely saw some influencers. I don't know which ones they were, but I'm like, that guy's an influencer.
Yeah, it's funny, hey, being that I live in the inner west and going out there and just seeing everyone out there. It's nice.
Ain't a damn thing changed.
No, that's right.
Tiora's madly scribbling notes onto a piece of paper. What are you writing about, bro?
I'm writing about our topic of discussion today, and that is looking at what the role is of a community-based gym similar to ours in times of crisis.
Should we talk a little bit about what our gym has done so far in a little story over the last 2 weeks? Or should we just get into the topic and let that unfold?
You boys take it.
Tiara Ward,
I've never seen T come so prepared to a podcast.
Ever.
I want to see where this goes.
Well,
He's definitely fired up. And he's, when he's passionate about something, you see the best come out of him for sure. And this is probably an occasion.
It's like he's a dragon slayer, but there's no dragons any longer left on Earth. But then all of a sudden, there's a plague of dragons. And the dragon slayer is reborn
slaughtering,
and ready to just fucking battle. Go forth.
That is exactly how I feel right now, actually. And to be honest, as uncertain as everything is at the moment, this is there is an element of excitement for us as a small business owner. It's
we have a dragon to slay.
Yeah, if you don't have a little bit of that in you, then you're probably destined for a horrible outcome, for doom. And I think if we go back 2 weeks, it's very surreal because 2 weeks ago we were celebrating our 2 strongest months, in membership retention and new coaches coming on board, and a big wave of new members that we could handle and get to know. And it was
we were on the podcast talking about it.
We just had our build our new mezzanine. Running more classes, we had a sparring session. Everything was just going so well, and it's still going well. I mean, it's all in perspective, really, isn't it? It's not like we're in India.
Some could say it's going better.
Yeah,
because reflecting on it this morning, when something like this comes along, it's an opportunity, if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah.
For character to come out for individuals in any kind of space at this time.
Yes, and I think we've seen a lot of that.
Absolutely.
Over the last 2 weeks. It's been a real emotional roller coaster. I know in our gym, and I think anyone who's either part of a CrossFit box or even an F45 or whatever it is, those smaller outfits, would be feeling the same thing. There's a lot of people coming for a different reason now. Nobody's interested in really making gains. They're trying to find a place of stability in a time of uncertainty. And I think as for our role as community leaders in the fitness industry, it is our obligation to bring that space, like to hold that fort, hold it together, be the pillar, and create a place of certainty that has routine and acknowledges the fact that people are going through some pretty shit times.
That's so
right
true.
now.
That's so true. And you could replace the idea of a gym, the word gym, with community centre, because that's essentially what we are. And
same as a church, right?
Same as a church, and it's a place where people come to socialise. I mean, in this modern world, a lot of people who are displaced from family members, etc., don't have rings of community and people they can talk to nearby. And our gym in particular, and it's not by chance, like we really have fashioned it this way. It is a community centre for people around here, and if we were to shut the doors.
It's funny. Yeah, I was talking recently, earlier this week, with some friends of mine, some other gym owners, and one of them was expressing his main concern was, he was obviously concerned, and he was about the situation, and he was talking about how it's important that he keeps his members moving towards their fitness goals through this time. And that like some kind of generic online training offering isn't enough, because it's about what are their particular goals.
Staying on track.
Well, I was like, man, their individual fitness goals don't mean shit right now. Mm-hmm. Like, it's the connection with you and your place. And it is like moving or working out. Like, that's really important, and doing something. But it's not like fuck, how am I going to chase that 5-rep chin-up goal that I've been working on? Or how am I going to get my press handstand while COVID is ravaging the planet? It's like, how do I stay healthy and how do I stay sane?
Yes.
And that's what your gym is. It's the place that allows that to occur.
Yeah, that little haven of sanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And share and a community of people with shared values, which potentially you don't have that at your workplace or even in your own home, with your family.
No. I think there would be a few workplaces out there, but by the sounds of things, there's a lot of places that are really coming apart, and I think a lot of that has to do with leadership and that the ripple effect from the top down.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from the approach that we've taken, not now, but over the last 5 years, and building quality relationships with our members, knowing the people in our gym, having an intimate relationship with our staff, all of that has prepared us for what's to come. And because of that, and that alone, that is going to get us through the next 3 or 4 months, or however long this takes to blow over, to come out the other end, survive, and then rebuild. And I don't like saying this, but if you don't have that kind of relationship with your member base as a fitness centre, so let's talk about your standard Globo gym, where the staff's turning over regularly, you're paying a minor membership. Nobody has a loyalty to a place like that.
Yeah, and the members all kind of despise the place a little
a
bit.
bit irate because the toilet's never clean and faces are changing all the time and the trainers, don't say hello to you, not that kind of stuff. That kind of outfit is going to hurt hardest over the next 3 to 4 months because there's no loyalty to keep your membership with a place like that. And the first thing you're going to pull from your budget is your gym membership. And if the only thing that provides for you is a bunch of fucking machines and there's no social connection, and I'm not talking about touching each other, I'm just talking about being around people that are going through the same thing and working through things together, then what the hell's going to keep you loyal to that space? I mean, I heard rumours that last week Fitness First lost 1,000 members, or over 1,000 members went on permanent hold. And
like at one particular location, you're saying?
No, I think there's like 4 or 5 in Sydney now or some shit like that. I don't know if it's a whole lot, but whether it's a whole lot or whether it's one, that's a big hit, and that's 1 week. And that's just going to keep on flowing in, really, at the end of the day. So, yeah, it's interesting. And I think what we're witnessing now is how much community support we actually have from our members to just continue to allow this place to function for as long as we possibly can. And that function is obviously we're adhering to the governing bodies and not getting sucked into the hype that Facebook's telling us. And our one source of governing body is the New South Wales Ministry of Health, and they tell us how many people, what distance, the hygiene, and we just adhere to everything that they say. And when they tell us to shut, then we'll shut, whatever. But at the end of the day, if you do not have the relationships, then the potential that your business will not survive the next 6 months is very high.
Can you tell us a little bit about, the reasons why we've stayed open? One, you've just stated, because we don't have to close. No one's telling us to close. But what are the things that we're providing for people in this time of crises?
In terms of how have we adapted what we do?
Just what are people coming and getting from here? You could also say, if we closed, what would be the effects of that on people?
Matt, the main thing I see, people come in and they get some like normality. They come in, there's smiley faces, there's people to hang out with, there's good banter, there's all the good energy that they're used to getting on a daily basis, and there's no, there's a level of respect for the guidelines and the dangers that are inherent to this pandemic. However, there's optimism amongst everyone that's in the room, and that's the. that's the thing I think that people aren't really getting in the workplace, or when you go to the supermarket, or when you get on a train. It's like there is a bit of a current of fear running through things, which there kind of has to be in many ways. But we have a place here where there's like it's stable and it's optimistic.
And for us to create that space, it's very important that you have a plan in place, that you have confidence in that plan, and you stick to it. And then you let everyone know. And you keep it simple, and you lay it out. And when people see some level of certainty, then they're like, okay, cool. Like, these guys have a strategy as they're moving forward, and I don't feel like I'm coming to a space where that's kind of leaderless and uncertain, and these guys don't know what they're doing, because that kind of stuff adds to anxiety. So we laid out that plan 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, the first phase of it was probably 2.5 weeks ago.
Knowing what was kind of like going to be in that anyway, because there was already plenty of talk. So that preparation is so important. And it's not too late to sit down and do this, but it would have been better for anyone who was wanting to do that as a gym owner to be doing it a long time ago. And that plan is just forecasting what's to come and having some kind of strategy that can combat what comes off the back of that. And that's first and foremost, how do we continue to be that pillar of support for our members? I think it's our duty, and we owe that to them because of the fact that they've made us our livelihood, and it's what we offer as a gym. And how do we continue to be that support pillar even when the doors are closed? And there's many, many options. We've got our online program that we're reigniting. We've got our camera kit, and we've reinvested in that. And now we're going to be shooting live workouts for our members. And then again, following the criteria from the Ministry of Health. So each time something happens, we have an action plan that goes into place. They drop the numbers down to 10 per social visit. Then we split the classes up into 2 separate places. So there's always has to be some form of action that takes place off the back of what's happening in our current climate.
Yeah, I think what's a really important quality amongst all of that is the adaptability piece, which is something that we talk about in our ethos regarding someone's physical development, right? That they should be adaptable. The adaptability piece, T touched on it. It's like our purpose is to create strong, happy, healthy, mobile individuals, and we do that through our gym. But if for some reason our gym can't operate out of this physical location, then we can continue to do that through an online means. And that, that's whatever we can do. And, maybe to take people to the park or an online workout, and these are all the things that are in our plan. You can still continue to serve that purpose. And I think what I'm seeing from a lot of places, and I want to make clear here that everybody's in an individual situation. So I'm not trying to hang shit on anyone that's made a decision that perhaps we haven't made or that I wouldn't choose to make, because you got to do what's right by you, right? But I do see a lot of training or fitness, martial arts type businesses that they're not expressing any adaptability. They're not finding innovative ways to continue doing what they do and supporting their people. It's like, oh fuck, we're closing. We're closing for 2 weeks. This corona shit's real, and we'll keep you updated. And then, I don't know what they're doing. Maybe taking 2 weeks off or whatever. But it's like, surely you can do better than that. There has to be something you can offer. Even if you're just a one-man band, like with all the shit we have, Instagram and fucking Facebook Live and whatever, there's options there. So for me, and I view it very much because I do the marketing and the social media here. I'm like, there's a lot of stuff that we can do to help people, even if we have to be stuck in our house.
And talking about repercussions of, obviously, the coronavirus itself has terrible repercussions on specific areas of the population. But we were talking about this, not so long ago, like an hour ago. What are the repercussions of the virus on the people that aren't necessarily in that criteria? And we're not talking just about the financial repercussions. We're talking about the health implications of losing your job, losing your business, and then getting told to stay in your home with your poor wife and kids that are going to suffer being around you because you're bloody miserable. And this is where we can start working on that front and combat the mental or start working on mental health and helping people work through this space with meditation, good eating, regularity with their training, like all of these things, accountability, just to keep the sanity there so people don't lose their shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And statistics show that stuff like domestic violence increases anxiety levels, stress,
drug
suicides, drug abuse, all this shit goes up.
Yeah.
And it's been shown many times. It's not the first time this stuff's happened. Like it's riddled through history where people have to be isolated and there's quarantines and there's depressions and there's recessions, and the statistics are the same throughout.
Yeah, it is unique. It has happened in history, but it's definitely the first time something like this this is kind of unprecedented.
Magnitude.
Yeah, in my lifetime at least, because we had our meeting, coaches development meeting the other day, and it was really cool to go through a worst case scenario plan. And T put together a line of questions, and we spent time looking at everyone's individual situation. And in those line of questioning, there was a thought experiment. It was about who has a support network, who has family, who can find if all else goes to shit and we have $0 wages for 2 months, who can be housed under a roof, who has a place to go and be quarantining, etc. With that sort of line of thought, and people were writing different things down on paper, and we were discussing it and sharing ideas. You can quickly see how at a time where there's pressure everywhere, it's very difficult to find some sort of respite. So, if I was say a month ago, if I lost my job here, I could find a job somewhere else. I'm employable, but in this current situation, there's pressure everywhere from everyone. All businesses are going down. I think it's just an incredible thing to feel, and I'm definitely in a fortunate situation, and I'm definitely not the worst case, but I can see people who feel that way. There's other people who are less employable, less adaptable, and
less support.
Less support. I mean, I grew up here. I got family that's pretty deep, and we can all kind of lean on each other. But I think everyone's got one degree of separation from someone that they know who, if everything went downhill, they would really struggle to find somewhere to be under a roof, through the winter.
And this connection is paramount for your business to hold together as a gym. Like, if you haven't sat down with your staff and discussed worst case scenario, then it's something that you need to do, and you should be doing it immediately, because at the end of the day, this will pass, and you want to be able to flick the switch and the business is up and running again with the coaches that you've invested all that time into, that have given you all that time and made all those sacrifices. There has to be something, once the dust settles, for them to be able to get back onto their feet and start moving forward again. And if you don't know how they're going to manage doing that, and there was an opportunity for you to be able to help them, and whether that was just bringing them into a room full of other coaches that could potentially help each other out, then you haven't done enough, And it was interesting sitting there, and they were the shittest questions I've ever written out on a piece of paper, mind you. I felt fucking horrible. It was gross. I was like, okay, what is the worst case scenario? Write that down. I was like, oh, well, that feels pretty bad. And then I started writing the questions off the back of that. And I was thinking about each individual coach and what I already know about them.
Yeah, man.
And I was like, man, this is very, very
confronting.
Real. Yeah, and it was not a nice process. I felt quite drained from it afterwards.
Yeah, the energy in the room was tense.
Somber.
It was for sure, but
But
the idea is to have that somberness and that reality hit now instead of 4 weeks from now.
No, and having your head buried in the sand.
Correct.
You know, but the outcome was great.
It was immense.
Everyone just bonded, and people were offering up their rooms in houses and tents and fucking, whatever. Like, we just, at that point, it was like, okay, we're good.
Yeah, we're as solid as possible.
And we didn't solve all of the situations. It was just the beginning, and the planning continues.
That's right.
The dialogue between everyone and, all that sort of thing.
And these are also the people that are on the front line for us in our business, that are working with our members that are coming in, and all of them are going through a tough time. Even the ones that aren't going through as tough a time are still on social media. They're still watching the news. They're still feeling the brunt. And you got to hold it together for yourself. Then you have people that are coming in that need more support, and they might be welling up and talking about the situation that they're in, and you have to be there for them. And it's a lot of pressure,
Yeah, if we go to that, our members, we've already started to get in some cancellations and people putting their memberships on holds and stuff, and these are people who are directly affected by things. There's a number of people who've lost their jobs, or their partners have lost their jobs, or shifts cut down. I mean, we're located right next to the airport, and if you can hear some planes in the background, I'll just let you know the windows are all open here because we're trying to get the airflow through. It's a few planes. We've got airport workers.
We got measures in place. I wanted to make a point just about, because it can be easy. For us, obviously, we understand the importance of this business surviving, but maybe for listeners, it's not necessarily so apparent. Because it's kind of like, fuck the business, look after yourselves sort of thing. But the deal is that this business, it is what looks after T, Paul and myself initially, and then now it also supports another 7 or 8 individuals who work out of here. Some it supports to a greater degree than others. Some might be coaching elsewhere, but essentially this place is what allows everyone to put food on their table. And so if it comes down to it, the business is what's prioritized over its staff, over its owners, because once this thing is over, it's the only thing that we can confidently go back to and start to rebuild from. And obviously, if the business has to shut and we have to go and do other things, that's fine too. But it's important. It's important for us to be very transparent about that, because I think at this time, like you guys have already said, people and businesses in particular are kind of burying their head in the sand a bit. They don't want to talk about it. It's important to talk about it. The business has money coming into it every week, and that money is what allows the business to continue to support those who attend it or patronize it and those who work for it. And if that money stops, then the business stops. And so what we're trying to do is find a way where we can support everyone within it, members and staff, and still keep this ship afloat over the next amount of time, however long that may be.
That's right. And I think something that we've noticed now is obviously there's some people hurting more than others, and this is some people hurting more financially, some people are hurting more mentally, and we're watching within our community the ones that are more established financially just stepping up and offering to pay like for another person's membership that's just lost their job. And we're looking at the people that are just feeling more stable mentally, being ears for the people that are struggling a little bit more in their minds. We've opened up anyone who loses a job to continue their membership indefinitely until they get another job.
Free of charge, that is.
Free of charge. And this response to that has been amazing. And I think just small acts of kindness start to build a culture, and it's always been there and here, but now it's really ramping up, and that culture is literally holding the fabric of our business together right now. It's very, very. It makes me feel very proud of what we have here. Like literally every day, I've come in, I've just had so many like proud moments. It's been great. And just looking at the characters, like you were saying before, different characters really start to shine. And man, like I watch news, I look at social media, and I just think, oh, we'll be in 2 seconds. Sorry, and I look at some of what you'd consider the worst of humanity. You're like, what are these people doing? Then we come into the gym, and I honestly see the best of it. And I think that the majority of humans like that. You just don't see it getting shown because it's not as newsworthy.
And most people don't have the opportunity actually to contribute in that way, do they, or express it?
But I think if you're in a position where you can offer and give, like people do it, you know. But you have to take that first step and promote that kind of culture within your own environment. I think it's very, very important in this time, especially.
Yeah, T's tapping out, tradesman or something. We got shit going on. New sink getting installed tomorrow. Timber decks being built. Infrastructure to support less germ spreading, essentially.
And the zombie apocalypse.
If that came now, we'd be good. We're ready to go. Fit, strong. Everyone's disinfected. But I think one of the big things that stands out to me is like, T is obviously super energized by this, and I don't know about you, but I feel very energized by it as well.
Very energized.
And I think that's what happens to us naturally anytime we face a challenge with the business. And I think it's an inherent quality of being a business owner. You would hope, right? You either step up, get in, like feel the need for action and get energized and start taking action, or you like hide away from it. In which case, it's probably not the place you want to be, right? Like as a leader of something. However, what part of that energy is thinking about like what opportunities become available when shit like this happens. And like last week we were talking about my knee and my recovery from the surgery, and it's the same mentality that I have with injury, which is that there is always an opportunity off the back end of that. So when there's a setback, there's an equal or greater opportunity at the same time. So like now, okay, we face this great hurdle, but there's also this opportunity in terms of what can we do to support those in need? How can we continue to provide our level of, or our product and our level of service through new means? Okay, great. We purchase some new camera gear. We start doing online stuff. Maybe we get to grow our social media following and YouTube and like all those other things. Like we actually start to progress the business in other areas. Like when my knee's fucked up, I can build my upper body strength or focus on the upper body flexibility more.
Totally. I feel very, very fortunate with the business that we've got, and how we've built it over the years.
Well, let me close the window. I think we got concrete being poured.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I feel very fortunate because we have the opportunity and a platform to do something. Also because we have the size and the type of business that we have can remain agile in this sort of time. And thanks, Oves.
Agile.
It's
a handy quality of being small.
Yes, and I haven't always been this way. This type of mindset that you're talking about, maybe you can call it growth mindset, but it's having a challenge or a hurdle.
Abundance, perhaps.
Is that what it is?
As opposed to scarcity.
And we need a challenge to rise to. So the Dragon Slayer is not a Dragon Slayer without the dragon type thing. So
love that.
I wasn't always that way inclined, and I really am grateful for the last 10 years or so where I've kind of been on that path, and anything that's put in front of me it's an opportunity, and this is exactly what this is. And going back to what T was saying about all the comments in this week, it's been pretty awesome. I mean, we haven't had much time to reflect on it too long, but every half an hour there's a message that comes in or a conversation that's really brought a tear to most of us. There's been some tear-jerking shit going on.
There has.
It has, but
real shit.
Yeah, going on that kind of that agility. There's an opportunity here for us for sure. We purchase equipment. We do something that we were meaning to do ages ago. Set ourselves up for some live streaming, etc., which is really cool. Something that we haven't really explored before, but this is our opportunity.
That's right. like build a nutrition program that can be offered to everybody.
Go on TV.
Go on TV, a la Sunrise.
Yeah, that's right. So I really like how you put it in the email you sent out to the members, which was, our purpose is to build mobile, strong, confident, happy people. And with COVID-19 has come in and whatever crisis is happening, our purpose doesn't stop being our purpose, and we just continue to do it. We just do it whichever way we have to.
Yeah. Yeah, adapt. So what's something gym owners can do? If you're listening to this and you're freaking out and you're like, fuck, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to lose members over this. I haven't even spoken to my staff. What do you do?
You got to mitigate the loss. So you're going to lose members. This is just standard. It's going to come with and you have to acknowledge that, accept it, and deal with it as it comes. Now, the approach that we've taken is obviously we want to keep the community tight. So we're reaching out, but we're also asking for those who want to put their membership on hold because they don't want to be in public space, if they could continue a certain amount of that money to come in through their hold, if they can afford it. So they might go to like a 50% rate, and then that 50% rate will continue for the amount of time that they spend away from us. And if they can't do that, then we ask them for anything, $10, whatever it is, and that just comes off their membership once it kicks over again. So the idea is that you must keep the cash flow running in because you are going to need it. So mitigate like money going out or the losses.
The spike in losses,
and,
you're just trying to ease it into a curve.
And don't shy away from having that conversation with your members.
Ask,
because we felt it ourselves like, oh, fuck, let's just not say anything. And maybe they won't say anything.
Yeah, you're just not going to,
everyone's going to say something and it's probably all going to happen at the one time. And then you're going to go, fuck, why didn't we just bring that up and have a strategy?
Well, it's very similar to what's happening with the virus itself. And you can see the places that are least prepared.
Boris.
Yeah, just getting hit hardest. And it's because they haven't put in something to mitigate that spike. And for us, that spike is a loss in members. So if you can mitigate that spike as much as possible, then just kind of you're going to move into a deficit. Hopefully, you have some form of safety net that you've put away for a rainy day. Then you can cruise on through at minimum outgoings, and hopefully get through the other side. So
we're talking. So then mitigate the membership losses. What else do we want to be looking to reduce? Our other outgoings?
Outgoings and staff is the biggest outgoing for every business. And if you ignore, in all of us, especially this industry, we're carers and we're givers. That's why we do what we do. That you have to fight that instinct in this scenario, because if your staff outgoings use up all of your safety net, then the business goes bankrupt and no one has a job ever.
As we spoke about before.
So you've got two options. Either no one has a job for a while, or no one has a job ever. So when you're starting to get close to moving into a deficit where the business is chewing up more money than it's earning, then it's time to pull the pin, and you have to do it. And you have to prepare your staff for it mentally, and also give them the tools necessary to be able to survive on their own for a bit. Continue to keep the connection with them over the toughest period, help each other out, but you must mitigate that cost, because it's too big for a small business to continue to upkeep over a potential time of no income. Then you need to... Sorry.
Interesting. I was talking to a fella who's got a business, was asking him what his plan is, safety net, that kind of thing in place, and I asked him what he was doing with his staff, and he said... I told them they're all going to be sweet. I'm going to keep paying them 100%, and I can do that. I can afford to do that for a month. And I was like, man, that's fucking noble. But I was like, what if this thing goes longer than a month? What if you found out now that you could pay them a bit less, like 50% or whatever it is, as little as possible to keep them surviving, but you could then, cover them for 3 months, or 4 months. Don't you think that would be a better option? And again, I'm no business coach, I'm no fucking finance expert, but I was like, I see the nobility in you telling your guys, I got you guys, like nothing has to change for a month, but I think you'd be better off making some minor changes and having a little bit more latitude there.
Yeah, and those minor changes should be reviewed weekly. So those minor changes over a duration of time will equal major change, but it gives you opportunity to adapt as a coach, as a business owner, and also you're keeping your eyes on the numbers at all times. Other ways, look, we're hitting up our landlord. We're going to hit him up for a 50% reduction in rent, and if the door's shut, 100% reduction in rent. We'll see what comes back. But here's the thing, right? Like, if you are an operating business and you're looking after a space and you have a good relationship with your landlord and you've been paying good rent, even if you haven't, like, if you can go to them and they understand. Everyone's going through the same thing. It's not because you made poor business decisions, what is happening now. It is because everybody is going through the same thing, which means everybody needs to take a hit. It's not just the small businesses. It's not just your part-time employers or trade. What do you call them? Sole traders. Because right now that's where the hit is hardest. We're taking the brunt of this right now. Now it has to start moving up the chain. That means landlords. That means banks. That means government need to start putting their fucking hands in the pocket and taking some of this pressure off the rest of us. But the only way that happens is if you get out there and ask. So you've got to diplomatically put your words together and remind these people that if you do not have a business at the end of this,
they're fucked.
They're fucked too.
That's right.
You know?
They're not going to be finding new tenants because people aren't going to be in a position to start a new business for a long time.
No one's going to try and start a new business right now. It'd be crazy.
There has to be understanding on all fronts there. And I really hope the banks do something to show that.
I think they're going to have to.
But yeah,
and somehow I feel like they're still going to turn a profit.
Yeah. Well, that's where people's voice becomes very powerful. But if everyone sits there and just stays silent and singular, and they're not connecting, and they're not talking, and they're not taking action, then this is when the most vulnerable take the brunt of a situation like this. And so now it's time to start getting those emails out. We've just sent an email to our accountant, and I've just said, what have you got for us? We need help. We need it now. What is the government doing for us to make sure that we can continue to pay our staff, continue to keep our business afloat through this time? I'll have a conversation with him today, and then I'll do the same thing again tomorrow, and then 2 days' time, and I will keep putting pressure on so he can keep doing it to whoever he needs to, and then whoever's copping that pressure at the top end starts to release a little bit of money. It's so necessary that you've got to speak out.
I like your expression, the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah, so this is all in the realm of finance. So what we got is you're going to take some losses. You want to make that spike into a gentle curve, and we've got some tactics we've put in place. We're talking about the 50-50, 50% now, 50% later type thing. We're trying to mitigate outgoings. You look at the biggest ones. We also talk with our staff that's a big outgoing and seeing what we can have there. Really, we're trying to anticipate at all times. It's planning, it's anticipation.
And we've curbed all growth-related expenses. So no money on social media marketing, any online subscriptions for things that aren't currently needed are cancelled.
Yeah.
All those little things.
And pretty much you summed up with we got marketing, sales, and retention. That's the big three that we just bounce between all day, every day in the office when we're not training. And pretty much we've just gone straight into retention. It's all retention right now because we're not going to make any new sales, although we've had a few random leads coming in.
Isn't it interesting how our leads have changed as well a lot now? The people that are coming in for mental respite, and they're actually saying that. They're like, I want to be here for my headspace. They don't even mention like tone up, lose weight, get my strong deadlift. None of that is strange. I mean, I think a situation like this really peels back the layers and shows you what's most important in people's lives.
Yeah.
So going back to like what can gym owners do, So there's the financial things and the planning and anticipation. We're watching our numbers pretty damn closely.
Yeah.
The other thing we're doing is we're staying in touch with the news all the time. Like a situation like this, everything's changing so quickly. So between the three of us and everyone, I mean, it's hard to avoid a conversation right now, but sticking your head in the sand's not going to help you.
No.
You need to be...
And the right news.
The right news, for sure.
Yeah, we're using the ABC. It's generally my source.
And Sunrise.
Sunrise, just to see you boys perform.
But the other big one that I think we've done really well, and I know, T, you've really been fucking charging from the front, is you're battling all the doubt and uncertainty with clear and concise leadership. And that's what you said at the beginning of the podcast. I think that for us, and it's funny because this has been a real learning thing, and being able to put that in place, and I feel like we've learnt life lessons in this last 10 days based on what we thought might work. We've put it in place and we're seeing immediate response. It's been really cool to see how action just dispels doubt pretty much.
Yeah.
And leading from the front and keeping it clear.
Yeah, for your own mindset as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important that before you do any of this, you get your own personal shit sorted first. So you know you've got your own plan, rent sorted, all that kind of stuff. And I would be even hitting up your rental agent if you're renting a unit or a home or whatever, and asking them to talk to their landlord about some kind of reduction. Like every spot where you can potentially save a little bit of money to keep yourself actively moving forward, just do it. Power companies,
internet,
all of them. Just let them know that that there's a potential you're going to go bankrupt and you need some kind of give. 20% here, 30% there, 50% there. It all adds up, and it's potentially enough to get you through to the other side. And these companies know this. They're all aware of it. They know it's coming, and they've got the coffers. Now it's time to make sure that you let them know that you're one of the people that need it. Because if you don't, they're not going to offer it up for nothing.
It's true. So interest rates, are they down? They're zero right now?
They're as low as they've ever been since the GFC, I think.
If you are cashed up, throwing money at that mortgage now it's
the time.
It's looking really good.
So we've got the losses, the staff, the rent, the leading with clarity, getting your personal affairs in order.
Yeah.
And then what else we got for a gym owner? I think you've got to ask yourself the question: what opportunities are in front of you that you may not have otherwise seen? So what things can you do to keep supporting your people? Is it an online piece? Is it content creation? Is it switching back to one-to-one stuff? You going around to their houses? Is it the accountability phone calls? What else we got there?
Phone calls are such a strong tool. And I think once people go into lockdown, I mean, like Paul was saying, he's got that network of it's a big family. He's got friends, and we'll be doing the same with each other. And I know I've got a big support, but a lot of people don't have anyone. They're just there by themselves. Maybe they're stuck with just the kids. They need that contact. So if you have a member base and you're just calling people on while your gym is shut, you'll have a huge positive effect on that person's life. And that in itself is enough to retain that member so they come back. But I think if your gym shuts and you think it's time for holidays, don't get me wrong, need to be able to take a break, and the rest of it could be a good time to take a break. But it's not just over until this thing wipes over. You need to be putting things in place and making sure that your business is still being worked on, it's still being established, it's still being maintained more than ever, because otherwise you have nothing to come back to.
Yeah, and what you don't want to be doing is shunning people who are calling up and cancelling.
Yeah. Because
all of those people are cancelling for the right reasons. They're cancelling because they're in fucking dire straits and they're concerned about their future. And, people's means are whatever their means are. Everyone's got, we talk to people down here. We've got people who have got, we got someone whose mother is unwell and, she's in her last days overseas. That person can't get overseas. We got another guy here whose wife's about to give birth. She's from overseas. Her family was meant to come over, see the birth of the first child. Like, there's all these unique situations.
Weddings
cancel. Fuck, like,
Yeah.
it's immeasurable,
jobs,
right?
Lots of jobs lost.
So if someone says to you, "Hey man, I got to cancel," it's like, okay, they're removing their support for your business, sure, but you got to be understanding that if you've got a good community of people, then you got to trust that person has made that decision with a lot of consideration, and that it's not something they've taken lightly.
Yeah.
So looking after them is paramount.
Yeah, this industry is built on relationships and, your ability to be able to deal compassionately with people and understand their unique situation. I mean, a lot of the advice that we're giving and the conversation is relevant to gym owners who have gyms similar to ours. Their boxes, their community, little stalwarts, wherever they are in Sydney.
Yeah, if you're at Fitness First, no one wants a phone call from the front desk girl.
That's very different to this situation.
Hey, just want to check in on how everything's going.
You did a job there.
The last payment just bounced.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's different. It's a very different model, and I guess we're always saying it. We don't think it's necessarily the best model for human beings. Having that big Globo thing going on, they address one kind of part, like they're a facility, and they allow people to come in as a facility, but they don't really. I've never been a member at one. But I wouldn't imagine they do too much in the community / big tribe type aspect. There's nothing like that, yeah.
No, unless you're paying premium dollar for a personal trainer and you've got that one-on-one, that's as close as it gets.
So, yeah.
They have like 2,500 members, and then they have like a Christmas barbecue with 10 members turning up each year.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn.
it's that kind of vibe.
And staff, most of the staff don't even turn up. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's a strange environment. I know that for a fact because I worked in Fitness First for
Long time.
2 years. Yeah,
Yes, you did.
1 a year, and it's 11 months too long.
Yeah, so it's funny just because
I got to... Sorry, cut you off.
No, it just being that they're in the health and well-being industry, but they're addressing like a few keys on the piano and just leaving all the other ones. They're just playing one little tune.
Yes.
I guess it just fucking dumbfounds me sometimes. Like, I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
That's not cool.
For me, I'm in touch with a lot of jiu-jitsu academies through this, like just seeing what's happening around that community. And like a lot of them are just closing because obviously jiu-jitsu is and any kind of combat it's pretty hard to be running that, or it's going to be very hard to be running that probably from next week onwards, just because it's a full contact type of training. We put our jiu-jitsu and our Fight Factory classes, we suspended them here until further notice. But a lot of them are just like shutting up and going, COVID, doors are closed, we'll keep you updated. And I think like there's a real lack of understanding there that there's a shitload still you could do for your people. Like you could do what we're doing. You could run a strength and conditioning or a strength and kind of mobility class. You could do it in the gym, or maybe you could do it in the park, but you could find innovative ways to continue to support your community before just going, that's it, the doors are locked.
Even like tutorials, like positioning tutorials, and just talking about the art and the finer elements that you generally don't get the time to discuss.
Right?
In
Mindset,
class.
competition, preparation.
Yeah, all that stuff. Just to your phone camera, and then just posting it on your tribe.
Yeah, I mean that's it, and that's the thing, right? And then that's a great opportunity. It becomes an asset. You could build a fucking program that you could sell down the track, or build an awesome YouTube channel. And there are places doing that, and it's kind of cool to see. But yeah, I think for a lot of those smaller businesses where it's like one person who runs it, it can be hard to see the opportunity that's around, and it can be very hard to see beyond the shit thing in front of you. But I think if you really sit down and consider it, there's a lot you can do. And that stuff is what's going to help you. Maybe you don't make it through, like maybe you still have to fucking struggle hard through the next couple of months or whatever it is. But the potential for you to rebuild faster once you can open the doors back up, or once, people can renew their memberships and whatnot, is so much greater.
Yeah, and it could literally be the difference between you surviving one more month or even a week and coming through the other end, or going bankrupt just before the finish line. You know?
Yeah. Boys, that's big chat. It's is there any closing points on that? Is there any things we want to push people towards, or?
I would say for like maybe some final kind of tips for that small business gym owner. What do we got? Take action. Don't be sitting dormant. Get head out of the sand if it is.
Yeah.
Start taking action
Right now.
Yeah.
Look for innovative ways to support your community.
Yeah.
So look outside of what you and what the other people in your realm are doing, and look at other businesses. An example of that, I got really inspired by reading a post about a bar in Shanghai that's it was very popular, quite new, and they had been forced to shut. And I think instantly they started doing home delivered cocktails, and also running online cocktail workshops where they teach you how to make shit. And I'm like, that is fucking awesome. Like, that is so cool. There's people still want to have a good time.
Yeah.
And there's still people out there with a bit of money and, whatever. So what can you do to help brighten the lives of the people that you're already serving in different ways?
That's right, to diversify. Don't be afraid to ask for help from the people around you, because there's a lot of people within your own community that want to help you. So don't let pride sit in the way, and just be prepared. Have a plan, because piss poor preparation leads to piss poor performance. At the end of the day, isn't it?
Nice.
Oh.
And prepare for the worst. At the moment,
Yes.
there's this time frame of like a 2-week closure. No one knows. One knows what the reality of that is.
Yeah,
the
that's
2 weeks
growing.
could blow out to 2 months.
Yeah.
Like, prepare for a longer period of time and think, okay, if my business is to be closed for 2 to 3 months, what do I need to do now in order for that to be as smooth as possible? Not, I'm going to close my doors and in 2 weeks' time I'm going to have a think about it.
Yeah.
'Cause
Or
by that-
I'll only last a month. You know that one?
Yes.
I want to be doing that.
Yeah.
Don't be that person. Yeah. Prepare for the worst, and hopefully the best happens, and then, even better. You come out with a little bit of money still in your coffers. You haven't lost a huge amount of members.
On the asking for help piece, if you want to talk to us, please get in touch. You can get us on Instagram, or you can get at Jungle Brothers Movement, or you can get us through our email, info@junglebrothers.com. That'll come right through to T, Paul, and myself, and we're more than happy to share any of this shit about what we're doing, and we're posting that on our Instagram as well, so you can check all that out. But yeah, even if you I've already had a lot of gym owners reach out who I'm kind of friends with on Instagram and stuff, and I know there's people out there hurting, so don't be afraid to touch base, even if you just want to chat over some of the tough times and have a bit of banter to brighten your day.
I thought I'd also mention we had the Rise Foundation coming out next Saturday to run the mental health response first aid course. We spoke the other day and we were going to postpone it. And anyway, I'll confirm it today. I think we can all agree it's more important to have something like this more than ever happen in the gym. So I'll confirm that. So we'll keep it running next Saturday until further notice. But there is some spots available if anyone wants to learn a little bit about mental health and the ins and outs, and where you can see the signs of people who are mentally facing a bad situation and might be suffering, and some ways in how you can respond to that. Reach out to us. There's some spots available. It's Saturday 28th of March. It's a 6-hour workshop. Get a certificate at the end and some good knowledge.
Tell me, what are we going to be learning there?
Just what I said, being able to identify the signs of mental. Well, first of all, the ins and outs of mental health. What is it? What are the scopes? Then learning how to identify. Say if you have a friend, a colleague, or a member at your gym, being able to see the signs and being able to anticipate someone who might regress further into a bad spot. And then I think, and I don't know all the details, it's a response, how to respond to that. And even immediately and what channels to go to from there.
I think also being able to recognise it in yourself as well. So that's that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's next Saturday, 28th of March. It'll be, cool workshop. So I'm hoping Ben Higgs can still come out for that, and should be cool.
Yeah. Stay strong out there, guys. Thanks for the episode today, fellas.
Thank you.
Ussa.